couch, sat down, and we watched the last episode of HBO Max.
All the way to the couch. All the way to the couch.
Couch.
For you, the people.
Right. The people. So, man, it must be nice to be Pedro Pascal, man.
I mean, for so many reasons. Look at him.
Damn. This dude just did Wonder Woman. He's the Mandalorian, keeps going. You know, he just did that. The incredible talent of
the massive weight, the unbearable weight of massive talent. Oh, and he's so good in it.
And
so charming.
Yeah, I mean, god damn. I mean, this dude is the one right now, Jack. So suck it up, Pedro. Learn from people like Nick Cage. Keep your money tight to your vest, and you know when this roller coaster stops, you'll still have a chair. You know,
and stay hot.
Well, I don't know.
He's getting hotter. It's mathematically impossible.
Him a fine wine, huh? I get you. I get you. It's nice to be Pedro, man. Goodness gracious.
And I love how much he's friends with Oscar Isaac. They're just like that. They're good buddies. Yeah.
Oh, I never had a clue.
Oh my God, they love to hang out together. So
really?
Cute.
Really, really, really interesting. So man, this is The Last of Us, HBO Max action adventure drama. So the synopsis: Joel and Ellie appear connected through the harshness of the world they live in, are forced to endure brutal circumstances and ruthless killers on a track across post-pandemic America. Whoa, Tifobot. That's pretty accurate from the first season. So yes. I have no record. I've never played the game. Mm-hmm. But all the nerds at my job who plays the game are all talking about this.
Yeah, it's very similar to it.
Pretty interesting thing.
Accurate. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So who's in this this TV show? Because this was only show number 1, which was
episode 1.
One thing I'm remiss. The runtime was fairly long, man.
Hour and 23 minutes or something like that.
They don't have it. Oh, there it is. No, they don't. There it is. 50 minutes, they said. That's not true.
That's not true. It was like an hour and something, but I wonder if like that's including credits or something. I don't know. It was longer than a regular television show.
Yeah, near 2 hours.
Yeah, it was like an hour and a half. I know because I looked at the runtime because I look at all runtimes before I start it.
I looked at it only because I thought of you.
Yeah, I'm always looking at that runtime. I'm very concerned with time. I need to be sure that I'm aware of like how long I will be in a place and stuff. It's you know what? I don't need to know about my mental illness. Who's in this movie?
Yes, who's in this flickaroonie?
So it's Pedro Pascal as Joel, who the whole time they're saying Joel in this movie, I never once heard Joel. I always heard Joe.
I didn't hear Joel either.
Did you hear Joe? Joe?
No.
Oh, I was like, did they change it just to Joe? What a weird choice. But it's Joel.
Okay.
Pedro Pascal, which we talked about at the top.
Yeah.
Bella Ramsey, who is playing Ellie, and I think she's an excellent choice, but also she looks like a 14-year-old girl. She's 20.
No, is she?
I was like, whoa.
She was on Game of Thrones as this little bitty queen.
Oh, was she? Oh, was she the bear queen or whatever?
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know all of the houses. Mormont.
Something like that. She was the little queen, you know. They had to convince to help. And she was grown as hell. She reminded me of Dakota Fanning back.
When they have like, and I think like in this, she's really good.
Yeah.
I think to be fair, I think everyone. We'll get there.
Okay.
So then we have some. Those are like the two. This episode probably has more characters in it.
Yeah.
Than we will see for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And so we have some other folks, which is like Gabriel Luna was Tommy, Anna Torv is Tess.
Marlene. No, she was the girlfriend, right?
Yes.
And
then there's like Nico Parker, John Hannah, Merle Dandridge. I mean, there's a lot of people, but they're and some people we haven't seen yet, but there'll be more people who like kind of come in and are.
Let's hear it for John Hannah, who played Dr. Newman, who was at the first scene of the show at the talk show. He played the brother in the Mummy movie.
Yeah,
that speech that he gave was like so chilling and so dope. Spoilers. God damn.
But it's right at the beginning.
It's right at the beginning.
And when I saw him, I was like, what? Because I do like him. I think I had like kind of an emotional connection to him for several reasons from my childhood. But
he was on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a few seasons, man. So I watched him.
I just love the way he talks.
Yeah. So before we go any further, it is time for I think it's time for one. Oh shit, one. Oh no, it ain't working. One,
Oh
one.
no.
Word, 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 word. Oh shit. The one word just wouldn't work. It's time for one word, Tim. What's your one word for? I guess I would say episode 1 and 2. I mean,
Episode 1, yeah, this first, the what we watched. I'm gonna say is control.
control. Explain.
Yes, because I wanted to say, maybe I should say tight, because
Okay.
what I wanted to say was like intense control.
Uh huh.
And what I mean by that is I do find that this show
Okay.
really presented as kind of a film,
Yeah, yeah.
without an ending, I
It felt like
guess.
a movie to me,
It
man.
did feel like a movie.
Shit.
Um, it has like a sharp focus as far as what it's portraying, who it's
Yeah.
focusing on, and you really feel like there's this, it gets smaller and smaller, and you can feel that kind of tightness,
Yeah.
which I think is exactly what you're looking for in an apocalyptic film, where there's some apocalyptic films where you kind of have this kind of like expansive loneliness, where
Yeah.
you are maybe alone in the world. I'm talking about like I Am Legend has a very like expansive kind of loneliness.
Yeah.
And then there are these controlled, very small, like tight lonelinesses where you're like, you can see this very one life, and how tragic it has become. And through that lens, we understand like other people, how they're suffering, and
Gotcha.
like what might have to be done to achieve some kind of catharsis.
Gotcha. 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 My one word is engaging.
Huh.
I was super duper engaged in this. I don't have any stake in the game for this thing. And I was interested in it because of Pedro Pascal. Honestly, I was interested in Uncharted until I saw who they casted. I didn't care anymore. I don't give a shit about Mark Wahlberg, and that whole different thing was just like, because they're both, I think, PlayStation's
Yep, that's true. They're both exclusives.
right. But this, I was like, oh, I like Pedro Pascal. Let me check this out.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's a video game, so I'm interested. But I'm whoa. I mean, so let's hit some spoilers. What I know from the beginning is that the game doesn't get into this past. The game starts in 2023 in the future. I mean, when it was
Right.
and so this whole thing was so good. The writer literally we saw everything from the first part of the episode through the eyes of his daughter Sarah. And I thought that was so smart to have her be she was the hero in the first part of this. It was
Mhm.
all about her.
It was our
And
protagonist. Yep.
I knew that, from video game lore that she was gone, that, that his daughter was gone. And, I felt like they were really making you like her, but I don't think they forced you
No,
into
I
really
agree.
liking her. I think they did a really good job of just saying, here's this kid. She was cool. And, you really, really, really did not want anything to happen to her. As far, I was like, well, I know something's going to happen to her, but goddamn, maybe she'll last a couple.
Yeah,
kills.
you do hope there, like that. I think is a hallmark of like something that is well made. Is
Uh-huh.
if you, especially like if you know, because we came like this property already exists, so you might already know some stuff. So you're coming into it knowing that that's going to happen, but still like giving you the hope that it might not happen
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a really good.
I had it.
You're
man.
like, oh, maybe this one will change it. I do think that their relationship is very good. I enjoy a natural relationship feeling
It
in a
was so
movie.
natural, Tiffo, but it did
Mhm.
not feel like some annoying ass teenagers they put in that role. And just she's cute. Don't you see she's cute? And she's
Mhm.
capable. Don't you see she's capable? They didn't do any of that shit. These two actors, they were comfortable, Tiff. Go ahead.
Yeah, they seemed like you could see that she was like but also I do love small things that you see in any kind of film or production of any kind, games,
Yeah.
movies, television, that let you know that like without it gets into your mind without you having to be like, oh, there's that thing. She
Yeah.
steals some money from her dad.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm like,
and then it comes
"This shit,
out.
piece of shit." Then I'm like, oh, she's actually, I wouldn't mind my kid stealing from me for that,
But like normal, she has kind of an attitude, but it's not like a big attitude. It's very normal attitude for a teenager to have, but also there's very loving. This seems realistic, and these little things that happen, like when she's moody about the food and, having these things that like these little things that make it a reality rather than, I think sometimes the mistake that is made in relationships with with like a teenage daughter or any teenager in a movie is that there's this whole grand like this is how a teenager is, and it's more like a
Yeah,
puppetry, like
it's
a
bullshit.
caricature,
It's
and this
total
seemed
bullshit for
real.
most places. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
very, very natural, and she was excellent. And the way they shot her and the way they dealt with her was excellent. So the scariest monster in the whole movie to me was the old lady who was getting fed. And it was like,
Yeah.
and then when she started like
Oh, the little things
coughing and
coming
stuff,
out of her mouth.
well, even
Woo!
before that, when she was in the house and she got the DVD
Mhm.
and they showed the lady she was doing this and shit, and I was like,
Mhm.
but it was in silent. There was like no sound. It was like, oh shit. So then she comes back and the dog comes and I'm like, baby, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. The dog is father went to go get the buddy out of jail. The dog is at the door. She comes out the door and I'm like, don't go out there, don't go there. But then I forgot that they were in a rural area. Cause at first I was like, no, because their street is like populated. The father drives up with his buddy and then the old lady comes out the house moving 100 miles per hour. She was in a wheelchair, Tiff. Oh my God. That was
I like that there's no doubt that he's just like, I'm clocking this bitch. Because
yeah,
like that's when I do appreciate a lot of stuff in this movie as far as that stuff's
TV show.
concerned, because if you I'm sorry, it just feels like a movie. Yes,
It
it's a
felt like
television
a movie.
show, but,
I
like,
get you. I get you.
it's a lot of stuff that bothers me in these situations. Although I did just do a would you rather where I showed you that I'm very much soft and would have a hard time. But
And
that
I'm like
you
somebody
don't
coughing in the zombie apocalypse. And I'm like, they gotta go.
you would be capable of doing so much more than you think, because you are, one, afraid, but two, protecting people. Like, they hit people that I'm sure were not necessarily dead yet, you know what I mean? But the thing about that is, I will talk about one of my favorite kind of dystopian tropes
Yeah.
is the beginning, when the television and radio is not working and they are just broadcasting
They did that.
a emergency message,
Yeah.
is one of my favorite, because it's still bone chilling. It's still so horrifying every time I see it, because I think about what it would what would really be like. Also, growing up in a tornado area,
Yeah.
it has like the tornado siren vibe where you're
Yeah.
like a little excited because tornadoes are cool, but also you don't want anyone to get hurt or die. But like, imagine a world in which that there is no news, there is nothing that's going. So, but my
In a
thing
world where there's no news.
is, there's no news. She goes outside immediately after it's like, don't go outside.
Yeah.
I would not do that, because if you were to the point where like none of the television stations are working, you've gone beyond.
Yeah. So the dad drives up and, like you said, clocks the lady. And so I was thinking the whole time that drive from the jail to back to the house must have been a rough one, because
Yeah,
all
they
that was
pull up
over.
all
Right.
going.
Right, all that was gone. So they get in the car, and this scene, I didn't see a lot of zombie apocalypse stuff, Fear the Walking Dead, all this stuff. But this was just such a trip and how it slowly built. The neighbors was outside getting ran over. They on the street. They cutting through, fields and stuff. And when they got to that town and the car got hit and her leg got messed up, and they were in the alley and the people were eating and stuff, and they popped up and started. It was just building to building. I'm sitting there like, oh goddamn, it got so intense.
And I love so a good apocalypse story, I think. Well, not necessarily, because I do think you can do one where there is no other people. Like, I've seen some really great apocalypse movies where it's really isolated, but like when you see
Book of Eli,
The World Eats
I
the
Am
Night,
Legend,
I Am Legend, but in this one, like, it's so sudden and it's so horrifying to
it
see all
went
the
from
people
good to bad in like a couple hours, Jack.
like that. And I do think that what I especially enjoy about this, and is not necessarily a good thing, but that it seems really plausible. I think it's probably one of the more plausible zombie scenarios. It's kind of, because they're not zombies, but
I'm
they're
gonna tell you why,
zombies.
I'll tell you why. Because they actually explained it.
Some science.
Right. I mean, I remember the old one of those old zombie movies where there was toxic waste in the army, and they got out, just dumb shit, so you're just like, okay, whatever.
I
But
like that too. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm like, I like it when it's this. I'm like, I like it all.
well, they try to base it in some kind of science, and
Yeah. There
um,
doesn't have to be in a movie like this. You don't need to sit me down and be like, okay, this chemical byproduct of this creates that. Like, I don't need you to go in, but if
well, they
there's
did.
enough,
They did.
yeah, it did. But if there's like enough of it for you to be like, that could make sense. That's all you need because your brain will start to fill in the rest of that stuff for you. It'll be
Yeah,
like, okay, that's plausible. I find these especially bothersome because little wormy things
yeah,
really bother me.
yeah. Is that right? Yeah, and
Mm.
that's exactly how what was happening. They showed you, and next thing you know, the girl got murdered, and I was told that that's exactly what
Oh,
happened. Video game that a
yes,
soldier
yes.
does that, and so next thing you know, he's living in this town, and people are getting burnt on a regular basis. And when that scene with the little boy was a trip, they brought him in. The thing was red, and I was like, "Is that good or bad?" I don't know. I don't know the show.
Hmm.
I don't know the game. And then like next thing they euthanasia the kid. It was like, damn, this is serious. And the next thing you know, they got this thing where they burning bodies and stuff. And so I'm like, wow, But so it went from like what 2013 to 2000, oh 2003,
20 years later.
20 years later, and
Hmm.
he has this miserable ass life, and then they're literally living in the police state, and it's like, oh shit, is this how things are? Is this the government? And I don't know what the hell. And they were hanging people, for doing who knows what. And he's a criminal. He's a smuggler, you know, and dealing with other criminals. And you know, then they I like how they introduce like the different parts of what's going on, like the resistance and why is there a resistance, and all these guys in this police armor, controlling when you can go out, when you can come in, when you can go to bed. What curfew was from 6 to 6 every night, and it was just like this place sucks ass, Tifflebot.
Well, you watch these things, and again, I mean, I talked about earlier some things that apocalyptic movies do,
Yeah,
and then it's not really about. It is about what could happen, but it's also about what is happening.
yeah,
Even if you take, there's things that are human atrocities that happen all of the time, obviously, and but also the kind of small human atrocities that we deal with daily and don't even think or look about because we are within our own
yeah,
survival concerns. And these are the things that draw attention. I think that that scene, especially where they euthanize the child because the child is sick, and that's protocol.
yeah.
There are other things. There are things that we do now that are protocol that people just accept blindly
That's true.
because
That's true.
somebody tells you that that's the way things are. And so, I mean, I do enjoy. I mean, and I know that in the grand scheme of things, this film is, or sorry, this show, Endgame, the game is critically acclaimed, great
Yeah, yeah,
game, is making these commentaries that like get into you a little bit so that you, I mean, like probably the average person watching this is just enjoying it, but you don't know what gets into your mind and can change the way that you think. And so, like, I'm saying that, like, that scene is particularly horrifying to us, but that shit happens.
yeah. They some of the nerds at my job, they were talking. So I was like, I was in the conversation too, but they were like, this is the best story I've ever, saw in a video game. And I was like, really? I've never played it, so I don't know. So, you know, we see the resistance. I forgot the name of those people,
Oh, I'm
they
having a
were,
brain fart.
yeah. And so they got to take
Firelight.
fireflies, something like that. So they're gonna take the girl to another person because they're all shot up. And are they? I couldn't tell. Were they gonna get paid for this, Tiff? You know?
I think that the implication, yeah, they were gonna get a truck. He's
Yeah,
trying to get a truck
to go see his brother,
to get
who's
his
probably
brother.
dead. Well, I'm like, he's probably dead, dude. You ain't.
I
But then when they
do.
walk out the room, that thing came on. She said she figured it out. '80s music means danger, and then the '80s song come on, which
I liked that. It was a
I didn't
little bit on
recognize
the
that song.
nose, but you could tell it was 80s.
Yeah, you could tell it was '80s.
Had the 80s vibe.
Yeah, and then like they got that whole scene with the guy. He was what the corrupt you know guard, and he ends up getting murdered. He just wouldn't leave shit alone. I don't know why he
I
wouldn't leave
like
it
that he
alone.
picked that fucking gun up, which
I
there's
wish you would
nothing,
have picked up some ammunition.
but we're in a hurry. So, but there are movies and shows where that happens and there's like, you leave the gun. And I'm like, you wouldn't. You
Yeah,
take, in this situation where these things happen, you take what you can get.
Oh, I
Because
would
you
have
don't.
stripped that dude
I would have
down.
been like, "This Kevlar vest
I
is
would have had the
mine.
vest on.
The helmet is mine. These
Exactly.
things are mine.
Exactly.
They are mine."
I sure would have. I would have stripped him down. He'd have been in
And
his balls.
the one thing that I'm kind of about is that like they really portray him as a piece of shit, which makes the killing of him like an absolution. So like they try to remain like I don't always like it when we try to keep our character pure. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, he would never kill someone who didn't deserve it. I mean, you will, but
yeah.
I don't. I mean, in this situation, sometimes you do things that you wouldn't think you would do. The only thing is that like,
well, the guy
in
was
this
like,
situation-
"I'm turning you in," and it was like,
yeah, it's over.
"Oh, okay." I'm thinking in my mind, all the shit business we done did, you're gonna be sitting right up here with me. I mean, I was surprised that the guy was like, "I'm gonna turn you in," instead of like, "Get out of here." You know, we're not friends, but if
Yeah,
I
like why
turn
wouldn't you
in,
just? It would be.
my ass is hit too because I've been doing business with this dude. You know, he's gonna talk.
Yeah, it would be more beneficial to both of you if you wanted to leave and you don't want to get in trouble for whatever you've been doing. Just be like, I'm gonna turn around, and you can be gone in 5 minutes. I'm gonna look over here.
I don't know why he didn't do that too. I was like,
He was a piece of shit.
I mean, dude, yeah, I guess. I mean, so
And also, I guess it's kind of a dumb piece of shit. But like, the only thing is, I can see, these relationships in this build naturally.
Yeah.
Like, they don't like each other right now. They don't even, and now they figured out that she's infected.
yeah, she has a bite. She didn't die, and why?
Right.
So
Right.
she's the cure, I would imagine, something like that. So,
Well, it's got antibodies.
so the journey starts, Tifflebody. That's the end of the show, and they showed some scenes from next week that looks bone chilling with the little creepy thing with the fungi, and like, goddamn. So well done. Even if I didn't watch anymore, it was still good,
Yeah, I had an enjoyable time. If this was, I mean, I wouldn't be satisfied with this end if I had never knew or seen or whatever, but I would be satisfied with my experience because it was a good experience.
It was a robust experience and it was complete, so yeah, bravo. Good job. You got my ass.
You got my ass.
You got me. I can't wait for the next one and stuff. So, Tiff, I think we did our duties, man. So I don't know if we decided. I think next week it's time for the good and bad of 2022, man.
Let's hear it.
What do you call it? What do we call it? The
Golden
Fans. The Golden
Fans.
The Golden Fan Awards. I love it. So we're gonna do that next week, and that'll be great, man. What are we doing? We're doing Road Warrior or something? What are we
the Patreon?
Yeah,
the Road Warrior.
The Road Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just tune in for a groovy time with that because I don't think the movie holds up the test of time.
I think it does.
Oh, we'll see. So that's it, man. I'm the host of Fans of Talk. My name is Montego. Going, hanging out with me today, all day, every week is Tifflebot. Say goodbye to the lovely people today.
It's been a pleasure as always.
All right, man. And so until next week, we will be
on patrol.